In the last few moments, it's been confirmed that German legend Franz Beckenbeaur has died at the age of 78, often regarded as one of the greatest players of all time. The defender famously finished as a World Cup runner-up in 1966 before going on to win it in 1974. He also won the 1990 World Cup as manager. He's one of only 3 men in the world ever to have won the World Cup as a player and a manager. We await official confirmation from the German Football Federation, but his family are understood to have told German media that he has indeed passed away at the age of 78. So German football, world football, I think it's fair to say, in mourning this afternoon with the death of Franz Beckenbauer, the Kaiser, at the age of 78.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, incredibly sad. I think we say it more often than not, actually, nowadays, but incredibly sad when we lose anyone in the world. But when it's someone you sort of feel you had an affiliation with and you're growing up. I remember we had video cassettes when I was a kid. My dad used to have a couple of videos about European football or world football. One was called Goals of the Century. One was called, I think, The Boys from Brazil. And another one, I can't remember the name of it. Another one was all about the history of the World Cup. So I remember watching lots and lots of Johan Cruyff and Franz Beckenbauer and Pele. And I was fascinated by Franz Beckenbauer. I thought the way he played the game was great. Ben alluded to the fact that he was run-up against England in 66, but then won it in 74 with West Germany, I think it was then. I remember there's things that jump off the page for you. I've got all these stats in front of me and I'll roll them out in just a moment because there's hundreds of them. But the thing I remember about Franz Beckenbauer, when England were World Cup winners and were defending it in 1970, I think it was Mexico 70 World Cup, and England played West Germany and we were 2-0 up. And Franz Beckenbauer injured his shoulder. I don't know if he dislocated or not, but basically had it all strapped up.
I remember.
And he scored Germany ended up winning that 3-2 and they were 2-0 down. He scored, I think, the first goal to make it 2-1, and that was when the fight back started. And I just remember as a kid seeing that, not in 74, I wasn't that old, Benny, and thinking, oh, wow, I mean, what a player, young kid. His arms strapped up and he scored a goal, and his team have fought back and beaten the defending champions, England. Just, you talk about great, great players, and we'll get Emmanuel Petit's view on this when he comes in the studio. But for my money, Franz Beckenbauer was up there with some of the greatest ever players to kick a football.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, and again, for me, similar, you know, already I'm obsessed with World Cup football. And I remember growing up, I had a video, not DVD, video, and it was called like World Cup Legends or Greatest World Cup Moments. And Franz Beckenbauer was on that, and it was like icon. So I think it was like 15, 20 minutes was a dedicated section to certain players. So you had like Puskás from back in Yashin, goalkeeper. Then it moved into obviously closer to Johan Cruyff, Beckenbauer, Pele, Maradona. But Franz Beckenbauer is, again, I think too quickly a lot of people throw that word around legend way too loosely nowadays. Like, but when you think about someone like Franz Beckenbauer, icon, I think that's bigger than legend. I think you got likes of him, Pele, the people we just spoke about. And that's the image I can remember of Beckenbauer as well. Watching this video was him with his arm, because he was their best player, and it was almost like they took him out, done his shoulder, and he wasn't the same with. Well, obviously he's playing with one arm, but the fact that's another great gone, it is really, really sad. But again, not just for Germany, but for the world of football. I think you can always tell how much of an icon someone is when the whole world feels it. We was obviously sadly Maradona when he passed away recently, Pele when he was, Bobby Charlton sadly recently. Everyone around the world seems to pay tribute, wants to obviously get involved, and Franz Beckenbauer is going to be no different. So a real loss, not only to, as I said, to Germany, but to the world of football and just sport in general.
I agree. If you're just turning on your radio now and you're wondering why we're a bit down and sad, because the sad news this afternoon, news broke moments ago, former German manager and player, the legend that is Franz Beckenbauer, sadly passed away at the age of 78. Beckenbauer won the World Cup as a player in 74, as a manager in 1990. He's also a two-time Ballon d'Or winner. That was 1972 and 1976. We can look back on an incredible career now and speak more about the great, the legend that was Franz Beckenbauer with German football expert Rafi Honigstein joins us. Hello, Rafi. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, boys.
Thank you so much for coming on. I grew up knowing that there were 3 players that were the best players the world of football had ever seen. One of them was Pele, one of them was Johan Cruyff, and the other was Franz Beckenbauer. Do you think that's how the world of football is going to remember him, as one of the game's greatest ever players?
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think there's much debate about his impact. Better players might have come after him, but up until that moment, certainly in Germany, certainly in Europe, he was up there with the select few of people who changed the game and who will forever be remembered as the most important and iconic figures the game was produced. His status was really enhanced by the fact that beyond his playing career, he had such a huge impact. He was a very successful coach. Of course, he won the World Cup with Germany. Then he came back to win a few titles with BeIN. Then he became a very influential operator behind the scenes and for the German FA. Had a big hand, controversially, as it turned out, in winning the World Cup bid for Germany in 2006. But somebody who really transcended football to the point that he was one of the best known and most cherished people in Germany, full stop, after the war.
Ralph, how will the people of Germany be feeling? Because as you said, I made the point that it won't be just the people of Germany that are really obviously mourning this loss. It'll be the people of world football. But how, obviously, close to home do people in Germany, how are they feeling about this? And how will they be feeling?
Yeah, they feel very sad because he brought so much joy to Germans and to those who love football. Also a tremendously charming man, very, very gracious towards everyone he met. A real talent for making people feel good about themselves, even if they're, just fleetingly making his acquaintance. They said, "Oh, I met Franz Beckenbeaur," because he too would treat everybody with so much respect and warmth, and he had this wonderful charm about him. And they're sad. Unfortunately, I guess the only thing that tempers the sadness is the realization that this was on the cards for a long time. He's been feeling very, very badly. Combination of really big health issues have basically made him a bit of a recluse in recent months. He hardly appeared in public because he just had so many health issues, and people knew, I think, that the writing was sadly on the wall a little bit. So it hasn't come as a shock in the sense of, the timing out of nothing, but it doesn't lessen, I think, the sadness and the impact that his loss has made.
Listen, of course, a legend at international level and, of course, club level, Bayern Munich being his club as both a player and a manager. Their next game, I've just had a look, they're playing on Friday against Hoffenheim. Any news from the club? Have they put a statement out? Do you think that game will go ahead?
Oh, the game will definitely go ahead. There's no doubt about that. But there will be a lot of things happening in the stadium. I haven't seen the official plans yet, but you can be guaranteed to have more than the 1 minute of silence. There'll be maybe special shirts or special presentations made. He was also a very successful chairman at BeIN. He was BeIN for many years. So it's not just a former player, it's not just a former manager, it's also somebody who really controlled and was at the heart of BeIN's rise to that sort of almost total dominance in the 90s. He was at the center of that as well as president. So yeah, there will be a lot of things happening, but I haven't seen any indications that the game itself will be postponed. I don't think that's going to happen.
Do you? I'm asking questions you probably don't know the answer, but these are just jumping in my head at the moment. Do you think there'll be any talk about retiring a shirt number at the club?
I'm not so sure. It could happen, but it's not something that happened in the past where, the fact that he passed away, as you said, might fire up that debate, but he's been retired for a long, long time. And there were very successful sweepers in the same position with the same shirt after him. I think it'd be a bit strange if they do it now, but it's a possibility. I don't know. I think there'll be a lot of people having lots of ideas of what the best way to honor his legacy is concerned, and that might be one of them that might come up.
Before I let you go, Rafi, as we were waiting for you to come on, I was talking about my early memories as a kid of him playing for Germany in 1970 against England with his shoulder all strapped up. Bentley was talking about some of his memorable moments of the career of Franz Beckenbeaur. Are there any for you that jump off the page when we talk about him?
Yeah, probably the 1974 final, where he had a lot of defending to do and had to make a lot of headers. He didn't like making headers. It kind of hurt, I think, his aesthetic sensibilities a little bit because he preferred to play with the outside of his foot and not sweat while playing. but he really sort of dug deep to win the game for West Germany, and that is probably the most iconic performance. But there are too many. Unfortunately, I was born at a time where I didn't really see much of him live anymore. He was already in America, New York, with the Cosmos when I really started watching football. But he did come back to play for Hamburg a little bit. It wasn't a huge success. It was sort of his swan song. But then he was a constant presence. I mean, there wouldn't be almost a day if anyone following German football where Franz Beckenbeaur wasn't in the media. He was so massive. And when you work in the media, as I am, you had many moments where you were lucky enough to meet him. And that was...
Oh, I think we've lost Rafa, are you there? Oh, that's a shame.
You made a good point there, and I think they should retire the show.
So do I.
I get it. Like, it's going to sound bad, but I think there's tiers to legends. Like, as I said, we throw that word around too often, but he's like an icon.
He's on the top tier.
He's at the top table.
Yeah.
I think if you sit at that top table with the likes of Pele, Maradona, now I know 10's an incredible, difficult shirt to retire, but number 5, because I was looking, that's where he wore mostly at BeIN.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Number 5.
I think Germany was 4 and 6, but go on.
Yeah, but for BeIN, I think a fair good few seasons wearing number 5.
Yeah.
I think that's quite small, because you're talking about this is not just a normal legend. This is an icon of the sport.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, do you know what I mean? I think that would be something that you should certainly look at.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.